4.1 years. That's the average tenure of a chief marketing officer in a Fortune 500 company. CEO's tenure, average, 6.7 years. And in 1 year, the number of Fortune 500 companies with a CMO dropped 5%, from 66% to 61%. And there's definitive reasons why this is happening. And I want to share with you what the fastest growing companies put in its place, because 4.1 is not a people problem. It's a design problem. And let me show you what's going to help get you faster growth. The Stewart Spencer study confirms it. In 2025, they showed the CMO with the shortest tenure of any in the C-suite. If you take a look at Forrester studies show that only 63 of the CMOs report directly to the CEO. Now we only have 61% have a CMO, and of that, 63% now report directly to the CEO. And then finally, the Gartner study in 2025 that showed marketing budgets have decreased at the Fortune 500 from 9.1% to 7.7% of revenue. That is a massive shift. The CMO is losing budget, losing credibility, losing access to the C-suite, and losing organizational clarity all within a year. Not because marketing matters less. The role is misaligned to the growth of the company. AI has now automated every channel management structure the marketing CMO is supposed to own. Now they are left with brand architecture, positioning, and creating compelling market edge, not only for the company as a whole, but for each of the divisions and each of the product sets. The CMO role should never have been a channel management role. It was misaligned to what really drove growth. And that is why we're seeing the downturn. The CMO title was carrying the wrong mandate. Why should we have chief growth officers? Because the chief commercial officer failed. And I should know, I worked for one of the worst of them. The chief commercial officer role was to have marketing cells under one banner, one person who is responsible. But what happened is that the chief commercial officer was solely focused on short-term revenue, how to make the quarter. Whereas CMO is looking, how do I develop the brand? Because every marketing lever that goes into a solid campaign built on a solid positioning and compelling market edge statement doesn't get cheaper for the company until about 18 to 36 months. It takes time to drive that brand architecture. The CCOs, they were so focused on the short term that the long term never ever took priority, never got the funding it needed. So marketing needs to be a compounding asset. And when you mine a compounding asset over time, everything from reach to customer touch becomes more effective and ultimately cheaper. But there's the problem. CCOs were more measured on short-term revenue. And so that was where their entire focus went. And in a 2025 McKinsey study, it showed that brand is the bedrock for long-term growth and resilience for a company. Yet most CCOs abandon the brand time and time again to make the quarter. Now we have the chief growth officer. It owns marketing and the budget for the marketing. It is responsible for long-term growth. So the CGO now has the brand and the revenue. They are tied to long-term growth. And that is making all the difference to making sure the investments in the brand are not put the wayside for short-term gain. When brand and revenue are owned by the same person, it changes the entire budget conversation. And that's what companies need to move towards. So now the CGO, what do they own that the CMO and CCO failed to accomplish? 3 things, simultaneously under one mandate. First is positioning or a compelling market edge. The compelling market edge, the specific, ownable, and demonstrable positioning that makes your company unique for a particular buyer. You become a niche of one. This is a C-suite strategic decision that most CMOs never had under their domain. Next is brand and revenue. No more budget conflicts. They report into the same person. No more brand losing to sales headcount. Gartner found that market-shaping executives are 8 times more likely to succeed, and only 14% of CMOs had that in their mandate. The CDO's mandate makes market shaping structural, not accidental. Third, content as an asset. The CMI Institute found market shaping collateral is more effective and cost 62% less than traditional outbound approaches. Wouldn't you like to pay 62% less to get better leads? And YouTube is now the anchor platform for the CGO, the only channel where consistent positioned expert content compounds. It qualifies buyers and queues them up before sales is involved, and cannot be summarized away by AI because it is demonstrated real-time expertise from experts in the field. So for founders and owners of companies from about 500,000 to about, let's say, 100 million, you do not need a CMO. You need a CGO, and a fractional one at that. You do not need someone full-time. You need the function, not the headcount. You need someone driving the market architecture, the brand narrative, the content engine, all aligned with revenue growth, delivered by someone who has built this before. You need someone who can deliver from day one and not have a 12-month ramp. Someone who's going to add value from the minute that they begin the engagement. So that is the fractional CGO model. Someone who delivers a compelling market edge. What gives you an edge in the marketplace and compels customers to buy? A YouTube-first content library, so it's a brand that compounds every month instead of being reset at every campaign. YouTube is the future of content. The companies that are building this now are building a moat that the competitors are not seeing, but that window will not stay open indefinitely. I opened with 4.1%. What it means is that the CMO role is no longer needed as it was outlined before. AI owns the channel. What is left is brand architecture, positioning, and strategy. That role is for the CGO. And companies that build this now are not going to have the 4.1 years lag that other companies do. Book a free 15-minute consultation. We'll discuss the CGO role and how to make it work within your company. The goal here is you need to start compounding and get the 62% less cost that comes with good brand narrative and a content engine. The link is in the comments below. Happy to have this discussion with you.